You're listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation providing strategic and tactical advice about inbound sales and marketing. And now, here are your hosts, Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli.
Hey there! How's everybody doing today? I am Lindsay Kelly, and I am joined by my friend of 4 years now, Brian Signorelli, otherwise known as Brian Sig.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm freezing up here in Boston. It's really, really, really cold today.
And I won't lie, I'm sweating down here in Florida because it's in the low 80s. So we really are the epitome of yin and yang, aren't we?
It truly is, especially, yeah. I mean, I guess the timing of the year lined up nice. I mean, it is warm. It gets warm here in Boston, but, not the year-round thing like you. I'm so jealous that you have right now in Florida.
So everybody remember this. So in July, when I am a puddle and I have my hair pulled back, no makeup on because there's just no point, and the humidity is to the point where you can probably see it for those of you watching, then let's remember this conversation. Okay.
I think the only place that might trump, actually, I know I'm kind of diverting here, but when I was 15, I actually played in a baseball tournament in Florida, and I can't remember where it was. I think it was somewhere outside Orlando. And we had a game at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, intentionally to beat the Heat. And I think it was August. And I'm not kidding. I actually passed out during that game.
I believe it.
I mean, it was like kind of wobbling back and forth and thinking like, what am I doing here? And the only time I've ever experienced heat that even comes remotely that close is when I lived in Nashville and spent one summer there. That is the same feeling. You step outside, you just start sweating immediately without even moving at all. It's just,
I know. So, you walk outside, you're like, why did I bother showering? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, folks, as you can tell, Brian and I have a relationship that goes back about 4 years. He is with HubSpot. They are a marketing automation platform that we, Prospect Builder, my company, uses with all of our office technology folks. And by office technology, I mean folks that are resellers of copiers, document management, managed IT services. That's our vertical. So, and Brian and I actually started out when I was with another dealership, another agency, back in 2012. So he sold us. He was like 6 months in, and we were probably one of his first handful of sales. And
that's right. I mean, you and John were probably the first 10 or 12 agency partners I had brought on at the time. And I remember, do you remember the actual negotiation we went through?
Barely, but
I think
I'm
we
sure it was hard.
Something like that. John was tough. John was really playing hard.
Well, John was the sales guy. So yeah. I had another podcast that I had that was sales and marketing. It wasn't focused on inbound and office technology like this is, but John was the sales arm. And so I stayed out of all of that. I'm the marketing arm. And I was like, you guys could go and do your money thing. And I'm just excited that we're going to have HubSpot.
I think John probably had mercy on me because, I had done selling kind of informally before that. I didn't really, get any of my training until I started working at HubSpot. So I was still pretty green to say the least. But I think we ended up settling on something like a 15% discount or something very nice from John to let me kind of get away with like broken payment terms or something like that, across the first year. So I remember that clearly because I was like, oh, I can't believe like we agreed on 15%. I thought it was going to go to like 20 or 25 or something. And I don't know if I just stood my ground or if John was being nice. Probably John just being nice.
I think John just wanted to make me happy because I'm like, would you just sign the paper so we could get started?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a tiny bit of backstory about us, but let's talk a little bit about the show. So This is born from the fact that in our industry that I work in, and Brian Sig works with just about everybody out there, all different industries and verticals, and he's one of the sales leaders now inside of HubSpot and has his own team and all that other good stuff. And we noticed within the copier world that there was a lot of talk of HubSpot, and we've been doing HubSpot with office technology folks for 2 years now. And I work with somebody on Brian's team, Rachel, I love her. And we have noticed that there's been a lot of questions about what HubSpot is, because in our industry there's a lot of buzz. So we said, well, why don't we put together a podcast, which could be, you know, a show so you can watch it. We're recording this for the folks who are listening. There is a video version of this that will live on yinandyang.fm. So yin, the word, and yang all smushed together, .fm. And you'll be able to see us, what we look like. So it's funny because our pictures look very different because we're both wearing our glasses now. And we
should I take mine off just for so we're actually getting yang?
I'll be like, hey, here, this is us without, this is what we look like. I know, and now I can't see. And old age sucks.
So funny.
But we said, let's start answering questions on a podcast, on a show. And I said, well, who can I get to help me as a sales arm that completely understands inbound marketing, which is what we do, and also understands inbound sales? Because that's one of the biggest challenges we have now, is helping our copier dealer sales reps figure out how to work with these inbound leads. And so I said, oh my God, Brian Sig, I got to call him. You were like the first person that came to my mind. And I thought about doing all other kinds of variations of this. So maybe we'll just do plain sales and marketing, but no, we do this one thing, and we do this one thing really well. And Yin and Yang, a sales and marketing conversation, was born. So that's what the show is about. And I want Brian, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about you. And folks, you have to indulge us. This is the first show, so we want you to get to know us a little bit, and you'll get to hear a lot more about us. And trust me, well, you know, I have a tiny human. You'll hear about her. Brian Sig has somebody that comes in and hands him cups of coffee sometimes, which is kind of awesome. I'm like, wow, you just got a fresh cup of coffee from this hand that came out of nowhere.
My girlfriend will kill me. I just said my assistant. It's definitely not my assistant. But.
So tell us a bit about you, Brian.
Yeah, so I'm happy to. So I just want to say, you know, obviously so excited to be doing this with you, Lindsay. And, you know, obviously right before the show started, we were talking about how, you know, it's literally just over 4 years ago that we had first kind of connected, you know. So it brings back really good memories. It's almost kind of like I don't know if this is kind of like a college graduation or something, you know, that it's 4 years later now or something. But
or like St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I'm thrilled to be doing this. And I guess quick side note, do we ever decide which one of us is yin and the other one yang?
Yes, I am yin marketing and you are yang sales.
Nice. So I'm not, I mean, obviously this is a horrible joke, but obviously, you know, yin doesn't actually translate to marketing, right? I mean, and we just kind of just ran. Okay, perfect. Great.
No, there's absolutely no meaning behind this aside from my VP of strategy was like,
all right,
I really like this name.
Well, in fairness, I studied Spanish, not any of the Far East languages in college. So anyway, which has also mostly gone out the door probably in the last 10 years. But yeah, so a little bit about myself. So I was actually a HubSpot customer before I came to work at HubSpot. So I kind of experienced the opposite of inbound marketing for a long time, because when I joined a startup in 2010, I was charged with running sales and marketing. And I had zero credentials to do that. But I thought, oh, sales and marketing, how hard could that possibly be, right? And it turns out it's not only a little bit harder than I thought, it's a lot harder than I thought. And so I spent tens of thousands of dollars of other people's money on things like trade shows, buying lists, spending money on direct advertising. Maybe looking to radio at some point, TV, and like one ad was like $70,000. And mind you, we were a pre-revenue startup at this point, right? We didn't exactly have $70,000 spent on a TV commercial. So anyway, kind of fast forward, I was introduced to HubSpot through a consultant we were working with. I had experienced it myself, saw the power of inbound marketing, saw the power of leveraging your website, you know, as another salesperson. And as a source of really rich information to educate someone on their kind of buyer's journey or buying process, at least from the sales side, is my perspective on it. And then I loved the company so much, I decided to go try to work for them. And I felt fortunate to be offered a job to work in sales, again, having really no business doing sales or having any real experience doing sales. So in 2012, I started as a sales rep on HubSpot's agency partner team, did that for 2 years. Was a sales manager for just over 2 years. And I've recently taken over a another role to help HubSpot build out a kind of extended channel program, partner program focused on our sales products. That's the Sales Pro tools and the CRM.
Awesome. Very cool. And we're so thrilled to have you.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be doing this with you. Yeah. Thank you.
So, and just to kind of give you guys the other side of the coin and why office technology, why copier dealers. Not that this doesn't translate to pretty much any business. Everything we're going to talk about will translate to all other businesses. But specifically for us, we became an agency partner of HubSpot in 2015. And so what we've been able to do is, having the experience already of almost 2 years at my previous agency where we kind of worked with everybody, now I'm able to work specifically with folks in the office technology space. And I come from that world. So I spent almost 4 years inside of a $40 million dealership. And I will stress this, like, all assets of the different areas of marketing are extremely important to do. This is another layer. And so this was a layer I was really excited about, that I never got a chance to implement at the dealership where I worked. And I really wish I would have. But that is kind of where I come from. So I'm the president and co-founder of Prospect Builder. And we are a HubSpot Gold partner. And we are very fortunate to have amazing customers. And we love every single one of them. And we're so excited because it's the end of the year and we're having discussions with all these amazing dealerships because they're starting to really understand how HubSpot can bring more leads into them, basically. And I'm putting it very simplistically, and there's so much complexity behind it. We always say, you know, our team is like ducks gliding gorgeously above the water, and then underneath our feet are going 1,000 miles an hour. Like, oh my God, we gotta hurry up, and they got a blog, and then we gotta announce it in the video. And so we said, well, how can we start to help some of these folks who have all these questions? Because we get so many questions from these guys. It's awesome. And they want, what is inbound marketing and what is HubSpot? I bought it. Now what do I do with it? And so we said, well, let's do a podcast and let's start to answer these questions. So that's kind of where I come from, 20 some years into between agency, corporate, and, you know, inbound marketing experience. I know somebody called me a veteran like 2 years ago. They're like, oh, you're a veteran of inbound. You've been doing it for 2 years? I'm like, that's a veteran. I guess I got lucky when I got into it, because now I guess I'm just I should be nearing retirement.
I'm telling you, the first year I worked at HubSpot, I think at the end of the first year, someone said, oh, how long have you been here? I said, a year. And they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, every year you work here, it's about 10 years, you know, or something like that. And they're like, oh, you're a veteran already. If you made it past your first 12 months, you're already like through the gauntlet or whatever, the training. Exactly. You've been kind of, you know, I don't know how to say it quite right, but you get the idea.
Yeah, well, from a marketing perspective, and especially from a sales perspective, inbound marketing is very new to most. I mean, it's been around for 10 years now. However, it's, you know, how long did it take for the TV to be? I mean, how many TVs do we have in our houses now? And it was a miracle to have one in the first 10 years that the freaking thing came out. So you think about it from that perspective, everybody is going to be doing this inside of the next 5 years. So the folks who are on board now are in such better shape than folks who have yet to get started. And so the sooner you start, the better off you'll be, because your competitors are going to pick it up pretty darn quick. So, and so then I'll roll really quick into, because, you know, our format, just so you folks know, is you'll hear us every week. We'll be posting out every single week on Friday afternoons, and you'll basically hear a little bit about some of the industry stuff going on from the world of inbound sales and inbound marketing. And inbound sales really just kind of started popping up in the past, not even 2 years. Once the sort of the need was seen, because, you know, as you're working with an inbound lead that's coming in through the website, coming in through some of the methodologies that we put forth to bring these people into the website, sales reps aren't used to working with inbound leads because that buyer is in such a different place than when they're picking up the phone, cold calling, or meeting somebody at a trade show and just being able to drive the conversation. Marketing has to figure out how to work with sales to drive the conversation online. So a lot of folks were struggling with that. And so, you know, I think HubSpot was one of the first to recognize we have to figure out how to help these folks work through these leads. So what can we do? Like, let's teach them the sales methodology for working with these folks in the different stages of the buyer's journey. So you'll hear a different focus and topic from us every week. We will have some articles that we'll be sharing. I'll kind of throw something up like, hey, there was this great article about blah, 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 and we'll spend a couple minutes on that. But then we'll have one main topic. So we're going to have a main topic on what is inbound sales, what is inbound marketing. We have a whole slew of things that'll be coming up. So, but from a 50,000 foot overview, I'm going to say just kind of what inbound marketing kind of translates into from our perspective. And then I want Brian to kind of say what inbound sales is from his perspective. And typically we'll keep this to a 15-minute conversation. And today we went a little long because we are explaining to you guys who we are. Like, why the hell would we want to listen to you two? Oh, this is why. Oh, okay.
I think that's the thing. Ironically, John was a salesperson, right? When the three of us worked together under the alignment group, right? But he was always so quiet. And I feel like, you leave the two of us alone and we're kind of like, we're just a little bit chattier, I think that like in a good way, like, I don't know, just maybe we're more open or whatever, just maybe not as reserved, or maybe I just never got to know John well enough, but whatever it is, I'm thrilled to be doing this. And I know that we're probably chomping through minutes.
But that's okay. So we're having fun.
I know. I'll try to keep my lips zipped a little bit more.
Well, you're more like I am. I mean, John's my former business partner and former VP of sales at the dealership where I worked. And he used to say, oh my God, if there were no humans in the room for Lindsay to talk to, she would start talking to the paint on the wall. I'm just like, I'm a friendly person, and I'm never at a loss for words, to be honest.
So the very first time, and then I promise I'm going to let you talk about sales and marketing alignment, inbound marketing, and then I'll talk about sales. I don't know if you remember this. The very first time I think that we met in person, I'm pretty sure you literally ran to me and gave me a hug. And it was such a warm feeling. It was a wonderful thing, because it's a funny thing, for anybody who's never worked in inside sales before, or especially worked in channel partnerships and inside sales. You develop relationships with people, in a professional sense. I'm sure beyond that too, but as far as Lindsay and John and I went, it was very professional, obviously. But it's a friendship that you're developing, and I felt that sense of friendship and business partnership, and it was such a warm memory. The first time that we met, you just came running up and you gave me a hug. I'm like, oh my God, you did. Yeah, I know, and I felt the same way. It's as
your
if
manager looked at you like, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Because was it Danielle? Is that who?
Yeah, Danny. Yeah, Danny Hertzberg.
She was like, she's a hugger. This chick is a hugger. And meanwhile, John's like, hi, nice to meet you, and puts his hand out. And
exactly.
Very
like
professional.
Very arm's length. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's a guy thing too, but
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, no, I'm a hugger. I ask any of my clients when I meet them in person. Both. We do all of our calls on video, so I can see them. I love to see the customers. I love to see and I normally don't. I put makeup on today. I normally don't. So right now I've got some of my clients are looking at me going, "Oh, that's what you look like when you're all done up." Oh, okay. Look your hair. Look, I see how long your hair is now. It's not in a bun.
Too funny. Too funny.
But back to inbound marketing. Not that I don't want to talk about how much I love hugging people, but back to inbound marketing. It's the way we look at it is it's all about, and I'm reading a slide from something that I just did the other day. HubSpot's version says, inbound marketing is a holistic, data-driven approach to marketing that attracts individuals to your brand and converts them into lasting customers. And that's a really great way to put it. But right about now, everybody in the office technology world is going, what the hell does that mean? So my translation is basically inbound marketing focuses on attracting prospects to your website and to you and building relationships online. I call it a digital soul. What is your digital soul? And some of the things that you have to do to be able to attract people to you using the inbound methodology is you have to understand all the different unique people that there are within your buying world. So we call those buyer personas. You have to have an optimized website so that there is a path for them to convert to. I mean, look at your website right now. If you didn't know anything about buying office technology equipment, buying a copier, and you show up to a site and it's a language that they don't understand. So oftentimes in our industry, people don't speak the language of their buyer persona. And then after they're reading this, like, what do they do next? there's very few folks in our industry who have that next step online because it's just not something that they're thinking about or that they're aware of. So we're like, what is the next step? You always have to have a next step. And then you have to make sure that you're optimized. So it's all about inbound